Greetings and welcome to another Lessons with Odin. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this lovely focal piece that I have put inside this giant netted thing. I'm not sure if I like this piece on a whole. It's just kind of meh to me, so when I make the PDF pattern for the whole necklace, I think I'm going to maybe alter it into something a little bit more interesting, but I figured I'd do this video so in case you guys liked the focal piece, you can have access to that too. So anyway, for this project, you will need a 14mm Rivoli, or round cabochon of some form. You will need 8 4x3mm rondelles. They're super teeny tiny. The very, very teeny tiny ones. The tinier the better, actually. 8 4mm bicones. 8 4mm rounds. I'm using pearls in this instance. Some Superduo beads. Size 11 seed beads. And size 15 seed beads. And of course your needle and thread. I'm going to be using a size 12 for those of you who are curious. So, let us get started. Alright, so the first thing we are going to do is pick up an alternating set of 2 Superduo beads and 1 size 15 until we have a total of 8 sets. Gonna pass it all the way down, leaving a small tail. Now what we're gonna do is take our needle and pass back through all of these beads once more to form a loop. Once you have finished with that, you're going to tie an overhand knot using the tail and the working thread. Then you are free to do whatever the hell you feel like with the tail end, because we're not going to be using it. Alright, from here, what we're going to do, right now we are in between a seed bead and a Superduo, so what we're going to do is just go up through the top hole of the Superduo. Now we need to add another alternating pattern. Since there is nothing on the bottom here, all I'm going to do is add 1 size 11 seed bead and pass to the top hole of the next Superduo on the round. Like that. And we end up with that wedged in between the 2 Superduo beads. Next, what we're going to do is add on 1 of our 3 by 4mm rondelles and then pass through the next top hole of the next Superduo bead over so that we wedge the bead in between the 2. Now we're going to repeat that, adding an 11 next, then a rondelle, and repeating that all the way around until we have completed the circle. And we end up with something like that. Now it's going to generally warp and curve and misbehave, but we're going to whip that into shape in the next couple of rounds. So the next thing that we're going to do is step up so that we are coming out of one of the rondelles. What we're going to do next is add on 1 size 11, 1 4mm bicone, 1 size 11, and then move on to the next rondelle on the round. There. Trapping everything into place. Like that. Repeat that all the way around until you have 8 bicones attached. And you will end up with a little warped sun-like thing. To step up, all we're going to do is pass through the next set of 11 bicone 11 and stop right there. Okay, now what we're going to do is just add on one Superduo bead, and then pass through the next size 11 bicone and size 11. And then we end up with the Superduo in between the two size 11 beads. Repeat that all the way around until you've attached 8 Superduos. And you should end up with something like that. Now move through the next Superduo bead so that you're coming out of the bottom hole. And we're going to step up by passing through the top hole of that same Superduo bead. Then we're going to start preparing for the back bezel. So we're going to start off by adding on 3 size 11 seed beads and passing through the top hole of the next Superduo bead over. And it'll start to cinch things shut. Like that. Repeat that all the way around until you have closed all 8 gaps. And that is what we end up with. We're going to step up by passing through the first 2 size 11 seed beads so that we end up in the center. Alright, in order to continue, we're going to add on 1 size 15, 1 rondelle, 1 size 15, then pass through the center of the next set of size 11 beads. And you end up with that. The rondelle bead is right in front of the Superduo bead. Repeat this all the way around until you have done 8 sets, but be careful. When you're doing your last 2 or 3 sets, be sure to slip in your Rivoli in color side down. If you're also having a little problem with the step with tension in the 11 beads, you can also, before you do this row, reinforce the size 11 beads again once more. And you end up with something like that. In order to step up, continue on until you have reached the next rondelle bead, and then what we're going to do to kind of finalize and cinch off the gap is add on 1 size 11 bead and go immediately to the next rondelle. Do that all the way around until you have added beads in between all 8 rondelles. And that has finished the bezel on this side. Now, depending on which side you like better, you can always even flip everything over and kind of make it reversible, but because I think they both have enough sparkle to be worn on either side. So that's all up to you. Next step is to reinforce the center by going through all of those beads once or twice more. And if you're having a problem with the cabochon inside slipping in and out, you can even switch to a 16mm and larger. There is enough room inside the bezel for a bigger cab if you would like. Okay, now we need to move up so that we reach the outside bezel again, so that we can add the final little frilly bits. So we need to step up until we are at the top hole of the Superduo bead here. So here is kind of the path I'm going to be taking in order to get to the Superduo. Currently, my thread is coming out of this rondelle bead. So I'm going to pass up through the size 15 next to it, and through the 2 size 11s above that. Then finally through the bottom hole of this Superduo here. Okay, then to finish off, all I'm going to do is pass through the top hole of that Superduo bead in the opposite direction. Then I'm going to add 1 Superduo, 1 4mm round, 1 Superduo, and then pass through the top hole of the next Superduo on the round. So you end up with something like that. Repeat that all the way around until you have done all 8 sets. And that is what we are left with. So all that's left to do is to add on the bail, and what you want to do is make sure that you are on the bottom hole of one of these Superduo pairs, pass through the top hole of one and both, so that you join them together. We'll add a small series of seed beads, and depending on the orientation of your pendant or whatever you're going to hang this on, you may want to add a closed jump ring in between, in the center of the seed beads. But what we're going to do is loop back through so that the seed bead hole is right in between there. Reinforce that by passing through all those beads once more and then ending your thread. And there we have the finished piece. I don't know, I think in these contrasting colors I kind of like it a lot better. What do you guys think? I'm going to be working on the PDF of this whole piece, so let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this piece. And if I have, I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to finishing that PDF, but if it is finished, there'll be a link down below. If you guys decide to make this project, feel free to share me some pictures. I love seeing what you do. You can tag me on Instagram or Facebook or what have you. And of course, if you'd like to see how I made this ring, there will be a link to the tutorial video down below. And of course, if there is anything that I need to be trying out right now, feel free to leave me a comment down below, and I will see you next time.